and limited capacity of hydro system. So it induced higher costs and longer time for unloading the commodity, the import commodity. And in the year 2008, we have to face with very serious problem with macroeconomy. And the government, they launched the tightened monetary policy to put this policy to put the trader and importer to very difficult position due to lack the working capital, and leading to the long interval between the import and raw materials. And now we have to use around 40% of the raw materials from the we have to import about 40% of the raw materials, and most of them is protein-rich raw materials like a soybean meal, and we have to import. We analyze the import raw material in the next part. And because of difficult in the economies, and around 10% of the feed mill closed, and investment in these sectors is decreased because of difficulties. And for the livestock, we have the situation with the outbreak, and the outbreak is very severe and long-lasting. And this is outbreak in poultry like avian influenza and PRS and FMD in the swine. And the livestock in Vietnam is characterized by micro farm, it's very small farm, and household farm, and backyard farm is very popular in Vietnam. Recently, many commercial or intensive farm were invested, but it's just around only 20% of swine and 30% of the population of poultry. So the main population is still in the household farm and backyard farm. And the situation is much different between the northern parts, the Vietnam, and the southern parts. There are many commercial farm and intensive farm in the south in comparing with in the northern part. And the performance of the livestock is very low in the backyard livestock, but it's fair to high in commercial farm, especially in the farm with very high techniques that transfer from the big company like a CP or some foreign invest company. The performance is quite big in comparing with the neighbor country like Thailand or Philippines. And you can see that the most livestock production in Vietnam is locally consumed. So we not export the foodstuff. Just a very small amount we export to the South China, like the Guangdong province, and some we export to Hong Kong. This the pig, the frozen pig is under 40 kilogram of body weight. It's for special consumption in Hong Kong and China. And because of the outbreak and the increasing the price of raw materials, so the price of production is increased in this year, and so the consumer have to pay more for a foodstuff, and the price of livestock production is rising about 120% against previous year, due to inflation. I mean the increasing the price of the commodity and the shortage of the supply because of outbreak. And the current price is around $2.2 per kilos of live pig, and around $1.8 per kilo of live chicken. And in Vietnam, we prefer pork than others. So 80% of consumer foodstuff in Vietnam is pork. And I will show you some picture about the typical livestock practice in Vietnam. So you can see this is a typical house for rice swine, and this is the breed. You can see this is not high glean the breed. This is a cross breed, and the others for chicken. And this is a commercial farm or intensive farm, which is invest recently in Vietnam. It's quite modern, and it's very good practice. This is the way the farmer to sell their products to the market. So now I will talking about the import raw materials and how it can be impacted by the macroeconomy policy of the government. This is a very serious problem in the first half of 2008, but the situation now is is much better. The government they can control the inflation and the exchange rate, and they offer more the US dollars to the commercial bank to sell to the importer. So it's better now. In 2008, in the first half of 2008, you can see that we import nearly 3.5 million tons of the raw materials for feed industry. This is the figures is from the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development of Vietnam. And you know that the imports amount in the first half of 2008 is nearly equals to the whole year of 2007. So, and the value is 1.5 billion US dollars. It's about 130% in comparing with 2007. You know that because the price of the raw materials is increased all over the world. And for import raw materials, you can see that the protein-rich raw materials we import in the first half of 2008 is higher than the whole year of 2007. And of which soybean meal is 1.85 million metric tons, in comparing with only 2 million metric tons in the whole year of 2007. For energies rich raw materials, we can see it slightly increasing in comparing with 2007. And I will show you some challenges for macroeconomy policy of the government, as well as a macroeconomy problem we have in the first year of 2008. You know that Vietnam now we have to face with very high CPI. It should be about 28% in the first in only the first month of 2008, and so that the government they launched the tightened monetary policy to retraining inflation, and the government policy, the central bank, I mean the central bank, they rise up the interest up to 14 base, and they try to get money back to the bank to reduce the cash flowing in the market. So the commercial launch must to increase the compulsory reservation. So the loan interest would be over 20 or 21% per year for Vietnamese dong, and around 80% for US dollars. And recently the interest is a little slightly down. For US dollar, it should be 6%.